I'm a boat builder from the Cotswolds in the UK, and I'm currently building a boat called Temptress, designed by Michelle Barriere and kitted by myself to be built utilising the latest in CAD design, CNC cutting and modern epoxy wood construction. In the previous video I built the transom framing, which is laminated to form the curvature of the transom in this jig that you see in front of me here. And in this video we're going to take a look at some of the components that fit within that framing to form the vertical posts for additional reinforcement and support of the transom, and also some big plywood cheeks that are going to give a huge amount of strength down here where the chines enter the transom, and also they're going to carry the big 4-inch exhaust outlets for our Ilmore when we install that engine a little bit further down the line, quite a lot further down the line. So the first thing that we do is return the frame back to its moulding jig now that this has been built. So we've got a big curved laminated frame. So that goes back onto our building jig, and then we're going to realign that with the center line and the perimeter that's engraved within the skin of this jig. And I'm going to use that to mark out the position of all the components that we need to install next within the transom. So let's get cracking with that. So I've got a number of different elements to install within the transom. I've got this little foot or pad that's going to go down here. That's going to be set into the V at the base of the transom framing here, and that's going to stick forwards, and it's going to carry the keel landing, which will come through the transom framing, and we'll cut out a section for that when we drop the keel into the boat once it's all framed out. We've got a big central transom post that's going to run up through the middle here. So obviously this is all going to be let in flush with the back curvature of the transom. So we've got a big vertical post that's going to come up off the bottom of that pad and run up to the top of the deck beam. Then there's a number of different posts as well, some smaller ones which are just going to spread out throughout the transom, kind of like this. And those reference marks that I just put in place, we're going to use to position those. So we've got two there. We've got two further out. Something like that. And then we've got two shorter ones, which I'm not actually going to do right now. So these are going to be let into here and here on the transom. And then you'll notice they're a little bit short, but that is where the stringers are going to run through and join into the transom. These two posts will then go down into the top of the stringers, but I can't do that until the transom is installed on the boat and the stringers are through there. So these two are going to come a little bit further on down the line. For now, I'm going to focus on getting these in, and we'll do some big plywood cheeks as well down in the corners by the chines where they come through. So where to start? Not sure. What am I going to start with? Doesn't really matter, to be honest. I think I'm going to start with the little foot in the center. So we'll get these out of the way. And we'll take a look at getting this pad installed. So this little pad wants to go something like this. And we need to take the bottom face of it, which is where the keel is going to land. So the keel is going to come in from this direction. It's going to be notched through our framing, and it's going to land flush with this face here. So we want this face here to meet down with the top of the V that we've got there. So we've got to take some material out from either side of this. Obviously get it central as well. We're going to do that in a little sort of half lap joint, so we're going to be coming up something like this and this. So we want to take that equidistant from either side, so I'm going to measure the gap that I've got in the center there, and then I'm going to take that gap and create my relief either side, and we'll get going from there. So we got another timber delivery coming in from Sykes Timber. This is all the machined stock that we're going to need for the stringers, the keel, the chines and the topside battens, which are going to be in demand very shortly once we get the boat set up, and we'll start installing all those timbers.
You find on the floor, or we take it?
Just down on the floor is good.
You tell me how far.
Yeah, from there, Bob's right.
Let's go. There you go.
Now, the very keen-eyed of you among the viewers may notice somebody that you recognise helping me unload the timber, especially if you're watching his series of the Temptress build on YouTube as well. So Bob spent a couple of days in the workshop with me here, and I was able to give him a handful of tutorials on various different hand tool operations as we cut some of the notches into the transom framing that you've already seen me doing in the video.
So what that's going to do is pick up that angle,
Okay.
and then as I come down to the transom, it's going to pick up that angle as well. So you can see it's just going to transpose
perfect.
that line on down. So I'm just going to aim to come slowly down. Probably just aim to leave the pencil line there, because the minute that pencil line goes, you've lost your reference of where you are.
Yeah.
And again, like, leaving a bit of material there is good. So what I would do is stop at that.
Okay.
We'll cut the notch there,
And see how
and then see how it fits. And it's kind of like, might need to trim a bit more of that. Okay. The main thing is to just not be over the line. You can always like go back in and trim a bit more. Finger on the back of the chisel and like body weight behind it. And this finger's stopping my chisel from just doing this.
Yeah.
Kind of just controlling it, pushing it to my body. Get to an epoxy line, gets a little bit harder.
Okay, so that's the transom framing with all the internal components dry fitted into it. So you can see we've got these sort of smaller posts here, and they're cut in with this sort of, I guess it's like a kind of bevel notch, or pretty much like a scarf joint really. Just gives us really good surface area there between the two components. We've not got any kind of hard spots created by if this was a full notch or a half lap joint, something like that. We've got a nice steady transition from between the timber thicknesses. We're not taking too much out of the transom, so it's a good way to do it, and they're quite quick and easy to do, so that's worked out really well. They're a little bit of a fiddle because you've got all sorts of stuff going on here. Obviously you've got a square timber going into a curved timber in two different planes, so there's quite a lot going on with them, but process that works nicely anyway, so I'm pleased with that. So we've got all of those notched in. We've got the transom cheeks, so I've done these two different ways. You can see I've cut a little rebate into the framing there, and then the outer cheek fits into that. And what that's going to allow me to do is to clamp that and just pull it into the slight curvature of the transom, and it will just about make the curve, so that's okay. So we can bond that in, and again that's giving us good glue surface area between this and the transom framing. It's going to create a really strong point within the transom there. And then the second part of the cheek is just going to go on the inside after that outer one's done, and that will just butt up to the framing and obviously bond to the first cheek that's sat in that rebate. We've then got the king post arrangement, which has got this kind of pad on for the keel. Which just notches into that, and then we've got domino joints from that into the main part of the post. And then we've got this half lap joint on one side, which partially laps around the top framing and then partially goes over it, so we've got real good thickness here for the center of the deck beam, and then we've got a bevel notch on the second side piece, so we kind of, as we glue this in, we'll compress it from both sides. So there we go, that's all the components done. There will be another small post that runs down here, but that one runs into the top of the stringers, so I'm going to cut that one into place once the transom's actually installed on the boat, and we've got the stringers will actually come through the transom initially, and then we'll do a similar kind of jointing arrangement to these when I install that. So we're ready to glue up. We'll get all of those components glued into the transom, and yeah, let's get going on that. So there we go. Cheeks and the posts are all cut in. We've got the pad down at the center there, which is going to take our keel when that gets notched out further on down the line. And this is one seriously strong transom frame now. So the other thing to go in is those two additional posts that I mentioned. We'll cut them in the same way once this is installed on the boat and once the stringers are run through the transom. I've just got the internal layer of the cheeks to do, which will fit on the inside here, and they'll just get clamped up against this external layer to get us up to full thickness, and then we'll be done on the transom. So really pleased with how that's turned out. So that's all the work done on the transom for now. In the next video, I'm going to be starting work on the stringers, the two huge laminated beams that run throughout the boat. We've got the stock in, as you've seen, from Sykes Timber. So in the next video, I'm also going to do a run through of a handful of different timber species, because I've had this question asked quite a lot. Suitable timber species that are usable for Temptress, because I'm using something slightly different for my two main stringers and my topside battens. So we'll go through that in the next video. So I hope you enjoyed the video on installing the internal transom components. As always, thank you very much indeed to the sponsors that are helping me out with material costs on this project, and also patrons who are offering some additional support to help make all of this happen. Really appreciate it, guys. And thank you to you guys for watching. So hope you liked it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers, guys.